Hello, everybody. Good evening. Welcome along to your pre-match build-up here on the Rangers Rabble Podcast, brought to you by the Rabble Network and the Talk Sport Fan Network. I'm Martin Douglas. Hello, and welcome to my co-host tonight, Ash. Now, if you could see unprofessional Ash, you would all be shocked, but I'm delighted to say we're joined by professional Ash tonight. Ash, how are we?
I did promise that, Martin, but there's still time for me to change back. I'm very well tonight. It's good to be back on the preview. I've not done that for a few weeks, looking forward to what is going to be a big game for us tonight, I think.
Yes, it is. How big a game is it, though, Ash, in terms of how we're all feeling? It was something that we spoke about on the afternoon Rabble today about people's expectations for tonight and the way that people are feeling going into the game because of all the stuff surrounding the manager. The first Europa League game, I think, was a wee bit of a shock to the system for us. So just how big is this game?
I mean, I think the frustrating thing is we were handed three very winnable opening Europa League fixtures, in my opinion. And one of the specialties of squads gone by is that they've been able to put any sort of domestic woe behind them, go into Europe and put on a performance. Obviously, that all kind of fell apart last week, where we contrived to kind of throw that game away. So, forgetting the season overall, just looking at, if we've got any aspirations to really progress automatically to the next phase of the competition, I do honestly think tonight is you need 3 points. I don't think a point will do. I think we've got to get 3 points tonight, go into the game next week against, or next couple of weeks against Bran, I think, get 3 points there, because we've still got Roma, Porto and Braga to play, and those games are not going to be easy, despite what's happening at Parkhead, which we'll not get into and I'll get too excited. I think it's massive. I think if you put aside what's going on with Martin, etc., just in terms of our Europa League aspirations, I think 3 points tonight is an absolute must.
I mean, there I was expecting a big team to come to Ibrox, but apparently it's a team I've never heard of in Romo.
Between that and me calling Haaland Belgian the other week, I'm surprised I'm not sacked, Martin. It's just I've still got holiday brain. Clearly, that's what's going on.
I've not got enough staff to sack you. Once I've got enough staff,
true. I'll wait for that text to drop.
Yes. Right. Okay. Let's have a wee look at the team then, shall we? The big question coming into the game tonight, Ash, was who we're going to be playing at left back, because obviously Magoma went down and Cornelius went down against Livingston at the weekend, so we were a bit panicky. Are you surprised to see both of them in the starting lineup tonight?
A little bit. I suppose it probably just speaks to the lack of depth that we have in both of those positions. Obviously, we've got a number of central defenders in the squad, or not in the squad, as it may be the case for some of our summer signings. But Cornelius, I think, has looked pretty decent since he's come in. So I think if he was fit, he was always going to be given that opportunity to play. And Magoma, there isn't really an alternative option there. We've put Aidens in that position earlier in the season. That's been a disaster and probably put him on the back foot for his Rangers career as it is. I think he's completely devoid of confidence, although Sunday would have helped that. But no, I suppose, if I'm really honest, I actually wondered if we might have seen Giga at some point, because I think Suter has been woefully out of form the last few weeks. So I actually wondered if he might get the nod tonight, but obviously he's gone with tried and tested with Suter. But I'm glad Magoma's back. As much as I think defensively he can be a little bit suspect, I do think he can look quite neat and tidy going forward. So yeah, good that we've got a natural left back playing in that position.
I would have thought at the very least Giga would have been in the team, just for the fact of maybe not wanting to quite either risk Cornelius or Magoma or both. That's why I think I'm surprised that they both start. I mean, we've got the Falkirk at the weekend, all right, it's Falkirk. And we're still not, I don't think, in a position where we can say it's just Falkirk. But getting an injury, a wee niggle, and I suppose this goes back to actually the press conference where nobody in the press room thought to ask about Magoma or Cornelius. But I would rather keep, especially Magoma, free for Falkirk.
Yeah, I get that. I suppose, though, because of the importance of this game, Martin's obviously trying to create a little bit of momentum and try and get some of the feel-good factor back, if there ever was one around the club and from the summer onwards. So I can see why he's done it. I think as well, it might be that Aiden's is penciled to come in at some point if the game's going well. He might give Magoma a rest, because this was always the risk by not bringing in another left back, is that this is a young guy. He's not going to be able to play 60, 65 games a season. I mean, we saw what what we did to Jeffrey last year, where I think we actually harmed his development by relying on him so much. Now, Magoma's not our player next season, most likely. He's going to go back to his parent club, so maybe there's not a lot of long-term thinking there. But no, I mean, I understand it. I think really every game is what must win for Martin just now, so I can see why he's picked what he thinks is his strongest 11.
Yeah. In terms of the midfield, Raskin, Barron, Asgard, looking at the bench there, Ash, I suppose, I mean, that's probably about the best we could have gone with tonight. Cameron just coming back for injury, so you wouldn't expect him to start. If he was, then you would maybe think about putting him in there. I mean, could you have Rothwell, Barron and Raskin in the same midfield? I'm not sure, although I'm still not 100% sure what Asgard's best position is, or really what he offers this Rangers team.
No, I think it's fair to say that Asgard has been quite disappointing from my point of view. I think it's unfortunate, but his kind of general demeanour and gait makes him look like he's not working as hard as you'd want. Now, that's not really his fault. I think it's just the way he is. But I felt, particularly, I saw him up close on Sunday. He's far too deep for me. He's taking the ball far too deep. He's running up blind alleys when he's got the ball, or he's recycling it back and giving it to someone else in midfield, or playing it back into defence. So for me, that's disappointing, because I was kind of sold on him offering us a bit of an attacking threat, and certainly being somebody that could, bring the ball forward and create space for others. But I haven't really seen that from Asgard. So I do think it's high time we saw a decent performance from him. And I think on paper, looking at the skill set these guys have, the midfield complements itself quite well. But we do need a big performance from Asgard, because I think Raskin and Barron played all right on Sunday, but Asgard was below par for me.
Well, I can confirm that we do have some Roman reporters who are going to join us tonight. Wilf and Demi over in Austria. Wilf, hello.
Hi, Matt. How are you? Hope you hear us okay.
You sound like you're a wee bit far away, but it's not too bad considering the fact you're in Austria.
I'm sure you're probably still going to hear me over the UK Bears. They were very, very quiet until I pressed into this link. So I think they must have realised it was going live and decided to start swinging.
Yes, don't end the stream, Wilf. That's the main question. What's the mood like amongst the support? Why am I shouting? What's the mood like amongst the supporters over there, Wilf?
Everybody sort of, we don't really know what to expect. It's one of them. We're always delighted that the left-hand side of the defence is fit, because we didn't know if it would be or not after Sunday. It's a kind of wait to see. Most folks there will be happy to do here with any kind of positive result.
Demi, what's your thoughts before the game? Have you seen the starting lineup yet?
Yeah, I have. I must say I'm a bit shocked that Gas said that my Austria's not starting, but after the weekend, I can sort of see why. But yeah, I'm a bit shocked that he's not starting.
Well, if he's going with Chermiti up front, which a lot of people expected that he would, because it's in Europe. I'll make this the last question, because I'm shouting for some reason, and I don't know why I'm shouting. But yeah, your thoughts on Chermiti starting, Will?
I'm not particularly surprised. I thought he might start. He has to get game time. Put a lot of money for the guy. He has to get game time, and hopefully the game's set up. I don't know how he plays, but this could be his stage to make himself an absolute hero.
Well, Wilf, Demi, enjoy the game. Thank you for jumping on.
You guys, same. Hope your team wins.
Yeah, enjoy the pod, guys. Hope your team wins. Take it easy.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, folks. Bye. That's commitment for you. Through the Union Bears, still doing the interview. Fair play.
I know. Clearly that microphone wasn't working. Otherwise, we'd have been able to actually hear them. But no, fair play. I'll need to get Will set up with proper equipment, which can only be done by the support for you guys and Phyllis Cullen and Quarter 1972. Thank you very much for joining up as members. Thank you for helping to support the channel, and I hope you enjoy all the extra content, which includes the watch along at 5 to 8, which will not be Hightower tonight. No, it will be me doing the watch along tonight. So there we go. And we did actually have another member join on the afternoon rabble, and apologies I didn't bring it up. I didn't see it until the very end. So I'll find out the name and I will give them a shout out on the next show. And what about who has been a member now for 8 months? Big game needed from Asgard, Ant-Man and Shermite. Now, we've obviously discussed Asgard there, Ash. Moving on to the right wing with with Ant-Man. Starts with an A. I'm allowed to make mistakes. Did we see flashes against Livingston of what Ant-Man can bring?
Yeah, I still think he's playing below the level that he's capable of and that he's shown last season. You know, the stats he got in terms of assists, etc., last season were excellent, and obviously part of the reason why he got the move to us for a reasonable sum of money. But I think the way he brought the ball back in for Tav was important. I like that. That was skillful. And obviously we've seen against Pilsen what he's capable of. I do still think, though, the way that we're set up probably isn't designed to get the best out of him. Him having to come deep and get the ball rather than run into space, I don't think suits him. You know, if you look at his assists last season, a lot of it was getting to the byline and throwing the ball in for somebody to go and score a goal. So I'm not really sure we're set up to do that. But ultimately, you know, you look at your options on the right. The only other alternative that Martin probably really considered was Mikey Moore. And I don't think he's had the strongest start. I think he can make an impact from the bench. But for me, that should be Ant-Man's jersey. He needs to get a run of games. And particularly in Europe, you'd hope that he's afforded a little bit more space that he can maximise versus domestically. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what he can do tonight.
No Finlay Curtis in his thoughts for the right wing, Ash?
No, I don't think there is. I think it's pretty obvious that he's, for some reason, fallen out of favour, despite the fact that pretty much every game he's been involved in, he's scored a goal or he's made some sort of meaningful contribution. Clearly, Martin favours Moore over Curtis at the moment, which I'm not sure I agree with, but I don't think he probably ever really had a chance of starting tonight.
No, which I completely disagree with. I absolutely completely disagree with. Why have I got 2-0 with that in my comments?
I'm guessing Braga might have scored a second. Yeah, dancer.
I don't know. Listen, I am not slagging anybody or getting ahead of myself at all, because we were shocking in that first European game.
Give us a bit of joy, Martin. Just a little tiny bit of joy.
Nope.
Nah.
Nope.
Fair enough.
Nope. Because if we go out and get absolutely destroyed tonight, Ash, then it makes us just look stupid, doesn't it?
I'll be clipped up, but listen, I'll take it whilst I can enjoy it.
Listen, it's not as fun as it sounds being clipped up, let me tell you.
No.
It's really not fun. But yeah. Chermite starting up front, Ash. Look, I don't really know if I should be saying this out loud. I think there's a player there. I really do.
I do. Have we seen it? No. But you don't, get your move to Everton. You're not being courted by your international team if you're not a decent player. I don't think he's been given an opportunity. I also, let's be fair, I think Majowski struggled a little bit as well, but I think you could have Haaland up front and they would struggle, because unless you're creating opportunities for a striker, they're not going to be as effective. I actually thought last week Chermite showed a few nice touches, brought a few people into play. A few times he got the ball kind of halfway line and turned and got everybody up the pitch, which I quite liked. But he looks to me like someone who's not played a lot of football at a high level for a long time. And I think he is going to need an opportunity to bed in. So I agree with Wilf. I think probably he needs to start some of the European games. We know what Majowski can do domestically. We saw that at Aberdeen. He might be struggling a little bit, but again, I think that's a symptom of the way we're set up. But I have no issue with him starting really tonight. I think, we can't write him off. He's only just in the door and he's not been given the service to show what he can do. So I'm hoping tonight's a big night for him.
Yeah, and it just seems nice to be positive about a player for a change. I know he's not had the best start, but I totally agree with you, Ash. No striker coming in to this Rangers team would have had a good start to the season, because they're so isolated up front. It's unbelievable. And we don't actually know what part of Chermite's game is his best game, because he's not had a chance to show us yet. But let's hear from the manager, Ash, shall we? Shall we hear from the manager? Do you want to? Or will I just ding it?
Listen, don't ask me that, because unprofessional Ash might reappear, so I think we should just play the clip.
Right, let's play the clip then. Let's hear what Russell Martin had to say to Rangers TV before tonight's Europa League tie against Stum Graz.
Russell, it's the second match day of the UEFA Europa League. How excited are you by the challenge tonight?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it. I think we're growing all the time, and tonight is another opportunity to show that.
Have you seen another lift from the players after the weekend?
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoyed the feel of the group. I said this to you for the last couple of weeks. It feels very different since the transfer window closed. And we've had a couple of good performances, so we now need to really build on that and win the game tonight.
What kind of challenge do you expect tonight, and where does it maybe sit in with what the squad have faced already?
It's very different to what we faced on Sunday. So a team that had a brilliant season last season. They're very set way of doing things. Very vertical. A lot of players crowd the middle of the pitch, so we have to do our best to try and nullify that, but also turn the game into the one that we want to, which is always the aim for us. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, a number of players in this squad as well obviously have huge experience of coming away in Europe, getting good results in Europe. How important can that be?
Yeah, I think it's really important. We have a generally young group, and you can see that with the bench we've got as well. So I think nights like this help them, and they're going to need the experienced guys that have been there, especially last season, that had a really good time in this competition, to help them. And I feel we're getting more and more in that place where the guys have more understanding, they want to help each other more. So yeah, tonight will be that.
Yeah, just one change from Sunday. Yusuf Trimiti comes in. What was the thinking behind that?
Well, I think Boyan played really well, but Yusuf also played very well last Thursday. But we got two really good strikers, and also a number one in Danilo as well, who's been unfortunate not to get on the pitch recently. So it's about freshness, about energy, and it's about different people suiting different games. And I think tonight Yusuf will help us.
Yeah, and how big is this opportunity to sort of build that momentum and continue that again?
I think that's what I said to the guys. Every game now is an opportunity for us to, win, of course, but to grow, to build, improve on what we're doing. And if we improve them from what we did on Sunday, we did some really good stuff. Then it gives us a really good chance to win the game tonight.
Thanks, Russell. Good luck.
Yeah, he talks about the need to win there, Ash. I don't think you can understate how big a win would be tonight for Russell Martin.
No, and I think obviously on the back of the win at the weekend, albeit it wasn't under the best circumstances, we would have liked to have been, up a few goals in the first half, which I think our play probably merited. But look, if that doesn't give the players a shot in the arm and everybody a bit of a boost going in tonight, then I don't think anything will. But I think, if I'm honest, people are kind of tired of hearing excuses. We're tired of hearing about training. We're tired of hearing about how the group feels. How they run for each other, how they care for each other. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but at the end of the day, we just want a successful team that we recognise, that we're proud of, and we've not seen enough of that this season. So I really hope Sunday is a turning point for the team, gives them a little bit of confidence. But until that's proven, I'm going to be a little bit sceptical just based on what I've seen so far this season.
I don't know, is my eyesight poor or something? She said one change for Sunday. I make that two changes at least in there.
No, I think it is just true.
Ant-Man didn't start against Livingston, did he?
He did, aye.
No, was it not Mikey Moore?
No, he came off the bench.
Oh, did
Second half. Yeah. Came on the last 10, 15 minutes.
Right. No, fair enough. Maybe I'm just looking for anything, Ash. That's the kind of mood that I'm in.
He's wrong. He's definitely wrong. But he's. I thought it was quite interesting. He mentioned the midfield and the pack in the pitch, because obviously Graz welcome back Kitishvili, the Georgian boy, who apparently is a very, very good player. So I do wonder if that's been part of his thinking and continuing with Barron, because I think Barron, gives you that industry, and I think he can do the defensive side of the game quite well in terms of hunting the ball. And for me, that frees Raskin up a little bit more to let him be a bit more box to box. So I do think that could be quite important tonight, because I think keeping Kitishvili quiet is going to be really key if we're going to get anything out of the game. So interesting that he acknowledged.
Sorry, Ash. Just on that, Ash. Sorry. Then would you not have preferred to start with Rothwell over Asgard then, if they need to do a more defensive kind of role in the middle of the park?
I think that would have been maybe too defensive for me, because Rothwell, although actually I'd have to say the cameos I've seen from Rothwell in recent weeks have been decent. I wouldn't say more than decent, but I think he's looked better than he looked previously. But again, I don't think he's suited to that number 6 role that he's been asked to play. That's not where he played for Leeds and where he was successful. So no, I mean, I think it's much of a muchness. I think if Rothwell comes in, he's maybe asked to play a bit more defensively, whereas Asgard, I think, has been tasked to play a bit more up towards the front three and link the midfield and attack. So, we've got to keep our attacking threat there, but we don't. I mean, let's be honest. We have a bigger European pedigree than Graz. We should be going in tonight as firm favourites. So we have to be respectful. We have to nullify the threat that they offer with some of their key players. but we should also go out believing we can win this game and look to get on the front foot. So I can see why Asgard starts, but I think he just needs to do a little bit more.
He needs to show something. He really
Yeah.
does need to show something. I mean, what do you think Asgard's best position is, Ash? Because I honestly don't know.
I think just in behind the striker, to be honest. I think that's where he's most effective. Almost a bit of a free role in midfield, to be honest. And I think that, with the amount of cutting inside that Magoma is asked to do, and even Gassama sometimes is asked to do, I think you probably could allow him to go a little bit further forward, Asgard, because I think, he can pick the ball up and he can create some havoc, which I think we lack sometimes. So I probably think he's closer to being part of the front three than he is the midfield three, to be honest, when we've got the ball. That's where I think he can be quite successful.
Yeah, he did say it was a very different team to Sunday. I mean, no shit, Sherlock. It's a European team. And we played Livingston again, just looking for an excuse to stick your boot in. Anthony Byers, thank you and welcome to the Rabble community. And I hope that you enjoy all the extra content. Thank you very much, my friend, for the support. I think this comment really illustrates where a lot of supporters are, Ash, right? I really think it does. I'm more excited about the 2 pies I just put in the oven, but we'll always support the players in my team. What I want to know is, what type of pie is it?
That was the exact question on my mind. Because if we're talking like steak pie or haggis pie, I'm all in. If it's Scotch pie, I'm not so sure. So if you could maybe follow up GM with that information, it'd be really helpful.
By the way, I love haggis, right? But I don't like it out of chippy.
No, I agree. That's weird.
It's not nice, in it, out of chippy.
Chippy, you've got to get a king rib. But anyway, we're probably going off at a tangent here, but that's the business for the chip shop.
Do you know what's really nice? The haggis you get out of the roll vans.
Yes.
The circle
Breakfast haggis. Oh, aye. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Do you know
avoid talking about Rangers. Right, guys, get your favourite chippy in the comments if you don't mind.
Yes. What's your? I probably should not ask this question. What's your favourite pie? Is it steak pie? Is it a good old Scotch pie, which I can't stand and I hate, and I think is absolutely disgusting. The last time I was in Montrose, I had a was it a kebab pie? I was in Montrose. That was the dogs, by the way.
See, I like you see all these like first or lower division football clubs that you might draw in the Scottish Cup do all these amazing bits of catering compared to the dross we get at Ibrox. So I feel like it's worth going to some of these lower league grounds just to get a decent pie, to be fair. And listen, the chippy chat, I could really turn this into a riot by asking about, chippy sauce, which is an East Coast versus West Coast thing, but I think that would just take us way off at a time. Maybe that's for another chat.
I don't like chippies, right? But do you have peas or beans with your chippy?
No, neither. No, chippy sauce and salt. Come on now.
Do you have salt and sauce or salt and vinegar?
Oh, salt and sauce, but it's the chippy sauce, which is the watered down brown sauce, which I asked for in Glasgow, and they hand me HP, and I'm like, that's wrong. Don't want HP, I want chippy sauce.
That's disgusting. That's how you know somebody's a chukter, if they have sauce with their chippy. It's got to be vinegar. Listen, this is a build up to a European game, and we're talking about chippies. So there we go. He mentioned Danilo there. Somebody who I almost forgot existed, Ash. And again, somebody who I don't expect to see tonight.
No, I think a bit like Finlay Curtis, it's become quite clear that he's not really part of Martin's first team plans. I think he'll be in and around the squad because you really need 3 strikers, even though we only play one. If one gets injured, you need to have that backup. But I tell you what, I wouldn't have actually minded if he'd gone out on loan, given that he'll be on a decent wage, and Finlay Curtis was given the opportunity to play as that third striker when we needed him, because he's got a fantastic goal record. I don't really understand the thinking behind Danilo staying, because he's not going to get much game time. And like I say, after A, the wages, and B, after all the footballs he's missed, I thought he'd have been quite keen to leave. But yeah, I'd be very surprised if he gets any time at all. And in fairness, from what we saw earlier in the season, he's not exactly beating the manager's door down to say that he deserves a start, because I think we struggled when he was up top as well.
We really did. Right, that's us, Ash. I need a prediction off you for tonight before we go.
Do you know what? I'm going to go. I don't think there'll be a lot of goals. I think the pitch looks pretty bad. So I don't think it's going to be a night for slick, fancy football, which may or may not suit us. I'm going to go 1-0 to us. I'm going to be confident and think that we can go on a bit of a run.
Who's scoring?
Dimitri. I'm really confident. Really optimistic. I'm trying really hard to get everybody pumped up. I'm going to go Dimitri. First goal for the Gers, 1-0 win, and puts us right back into Europa League contention for the next group stage.
Are you going to learn how to say his name properly if he scores?
Oh, what's his name? Dimitri, is it not?
Chermiti.
Oh,
Chermiti.
right, between Romy, Chermiti. I'm
Romo.
done. Sorry, guys. Romo.
Will Chermichi start against Romo? I don't know. I really don't know.
Rangers number 9 that cost 10 million, all right? You know who I mean.
Anthony Byers, thanks, Martin. Love the show. First time posting. Well, don't be a stranger and keep posting away. And you'll be able to join us in the morning rabbles if you're about as well. And you can even phone in on the morning rabbles. So there we go. Right, folks. There's about 17-ish minutes before kick-off. So go get yourself a beer, a cup of coffee, whatever you're having, and enjoy the game. If you are a channel member, like I say, you can join me for the game. You can sit and watch me get really angry and frustrated and possibly lose several pens, which I have done in the past. So make sure you join us there. If you want to become a member, the links are in the description. Ash, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me, and I hope everyone enjoys the game and GM enjoys those 2 pies that are warming up in the oven.
Now, it's Scotch pies, they're minging. Absolutely minging.
Bit of sauce, it'll be fine.
Well, thinking positive. There we go. I like that. I like to think positive. Not about Scotch pies, but because they are just minging. So there we go. Perry, I can confirm you're not, because you don't have the wee member thing beside you. So you're not a member. Right, folks, go and enjoy the game. Ash, thank you very much. And if you're not a member, we will be back about 5 or 10 minutes after the full-time whistle for post-match reaction.